Hello, beloved community. This is Robin Michael Beach here. Thank you for joining me today as we dive into week 2 of our 52-week journey, measuring the city and weighing the thrones, a foray into the New Jerusalem of the Lamb of God. Last week, we contrasted the spirit of sovereignty with the spirit of fear, reclaiming God's eternal rule over chaos. And now we build on that by exploring the spirit of adoption from Romans chapter 8, verse 15. Paul declares here, the spirit you received does not make you slaves, so that you live in fear again. Rather, the spirit you received brought you into adoption, the adoption of sonship, and by him we cry, Abba, Father. This isn't just personal therapy. It's cosmic. In the Palingenesia, that second Genesis, Jesus promised in Matthew 19:28, adoption measures our place in the New Jerusalem. We're not slaves peeking through gates. We're heirs weighing the thrones of divine governance. In week 1, we talked about you being freed from fear. But in week 2, I'm inviting you into this family inheritance that he has invited us into. So let's begin by measuring this city together. Let's start by unpacking this lexically and culturally. Our research team has synthesized for me these thoughts. In the Greek lexical analysis, we see the words pneuma weothesias, which is what Paul defines as the spirit of adoption. And he contrasts this with pneuma doulias, the spirit of slavery. Weothesia draws from Roman legal adoption, where a slave becomes a full heir. But Paul infuses it with Hebraic depth, echoing God's adoption of Israel in Exodus chapter 4, verse 22. In an anthropological context, in the ancient Near Eastern societies, adoption wasn't just paperwork. It was ontological. It reshaped identity and authority. There were also social implications. This rejects the slave mentality of fear-based religion where we perform for self-approval. Instead, it's krino in action, judgment as royal governance, not punishment. Now remember, krino from Matthew 19:28 translates Hebrew shafat, blending justice with executive rule, like Israel's judges who delivered and governed, as Evans wrote and elucidated in his book, The 12 Thrones of Israel. So a key insight into this picture of the New Jerusalem is that this adoption seats us with the apostles on thrones, judging, governing the tribes in the renewed creation. So how does this hit home then? As a contrast, a slave would eye the master's house, always fearing eviction, echoing the fear that we dismantled in week 1. But a son knows it's his inheritance, crying Abba in intimate trust. Now, psychologically, this heals what we would call attachment wounds. Sociologically, it dismantles this hierarchical systems that breed disillusionment. These integrate some of the perspectives that Brene Brown and some of his teachings in cultural anthropology delivered to us on thoughts concerning sacred spaces. So some practical steps for you in this coming week Number one would be meditate on this thought of palingencia, this second Genesis, and begin to journal how adoption has renewed your idea, changing you from the spirit of fear and moving you into the spirit of sovereignty. Number two would be to weigh your throne. Reflect on areas where you're judging, governing your life with kingdom authority, not slavery. Number three, cry Abba in counseling, in small groups, in everyday interactions. Share Abba moments to build relational intelligence with the Lord and the ones that He has brought you to. This connects us. This connects the dots of our reality, where we blend theology with sociology to produce this transformative faith. Now let's talk about the city's architecture. Since we're measuring the city and weighing the thrones, let's look more deeply into our thesis subject of the New Jerusalem from Revelation chapter 21, verses 14 through 17. In the context of the architecture, the city is a perfect cube. It's 12,000 stadia, walls of 144 cubits. This asserts very definitively God's sovereignty, where He's giving us a beautiful picture that He is making the whole of creation His temple. This parallels the revelation and vision that Ezekiel had that encapsulates chapters 40 through 48. And the apostolic foundation, the apostles' names on that foundation, that is their throne as an ontological bedrock where they are governing the renewed Israel under the lordship of Jesus Christ. And the Davidic connection. David is not a caricature, but the revelation of integrated humanity as the root and offspring that Revelation 22:16 speaks to us of. Christ predetermines the incarnation as God's existential format for sovereignty. So, as an integration then, adoption plugs us into this. We're co-heirs in the Lamb city, where palingencia completes all things. This is our foray, a prophetic glimpse into eternity's architecture. Friends, if this stirs your spirit, like, subscribe, join this conversation. Catch the teasers on socials and mark your calendar for our Zoom on freedom themes as we build and see this New Jerusalem built together. I'm Bishop Robin Michael Beach. Thank you for joining me today on Connecting the Dots, where we are measuring the city and weighing the thrones.